Hey gang, welcome back to the channel. I am Brian, and today we're going to be going over this VanPowers Super PowerPro 2000 power station. So this Super PowerPro is rated at 2096 watt hours worth of lithium ion batteries baked inside of it, and this also has a 2000 watt rated continuous inverter built into it. And this unit does come in at around 50 pounds, but to make it easier to move around, VanPowers added a couple of wheels on the back and a telescoping style luggage handle that you can deploy and actually roll this thing around instead of having to use the included carry handle. So folks, there's quite a bit to go over in this power station, and I'm just going to jump right into it and cut all the fluff out. And so what you're going to get in the box is a pretty nice little charging case with a weatherproof zipper all the way around it. When you open this up, you're going to get your XT60 to MC4 charging cables, and these are really nice large heavy gauge cable. So this unit can accept via this cord up to 600 watts of solar from 12 to 60 volts. You also get of course your DC charging cable with the XT60 input on the other end, and you can use that to say plug into your truck or your car or your van or whatever and charge this unit while you're driving. And you're also going to get your standard AC charging cord, so no brick. Now AC charging speed can range from 300 watts to 1800 watts. Most home outlets are rated at 1875 watts, and if you're using anything on that circuit in your home and you try to charge this thing at 1800 watts, you're probably going to blow your circuit breaker. So luckily this thing does come with an app, and you can adjust the charging speed in increments of around 200 watts from 300 to 1800 watts. And that's good because you don't always want to charge max charging rate at 1800 watts because it is hard on the batteries. But if you do need a quick top up and you got to get this thing charged up quickly, knowing that you can get 1800 watts off of home grid power is very beneficial. I just don't like doing it if I don't have to kind of prolong the life of these batteries. What makes this unit even more kind of bizarre is that this unit has two MPPT solar inputs. So you can charge 600 watts of solar using the supplied MC4 to XT60, or you're supposed to be able to charge up to 1800 watts using a cord that looks similar to this, which is my AC charging cord, but I didn't get it in my package. They didn't send it to me, so I've contacted them and asked them where it is. But one of the big benefits of this unit is that you get a cord that looks similar to this again, but instead of the 3 prongs, you're gonna have 2 MC4 solar panel connections. And so you'll plug this into where you typically would plug in your AC charging port, and you should be able to charge at up to 1800 watts off of that array. So you can get up to 2400 watts worth of solar charging this unit if you have all the right cords. So I'll let you folks know if VanPowers reaches back to me and sends me the cord, but I didn't get it in my setup. And you can also mix and match inputs. So you can do home AC charging and you can do solar charging. That's fine. So whatever your recipe is of the day for charging this thing, you can probably get it accomplished via either solar, AC, or a mixture of both. So the first test I did on this unit was the DC discharge capacity test. So I charged this unit up to 100%. I hooked up my DC capacity tester and I ran this thing down to empty until it cut itself off. When I came back, I was able to get 1794 watt hours squeezed out of those batteries. That equates to around 86% efficient, which is pretty good. On average, most of my power stations that I review, I get between 81 and 84% efficiency rating. So 86% I would say is just a little bit above average. I have seen some reviews on this unit that they were getting about 90 to 93% efficiency, but again, I can only give you what I was able to get out of my testing, which was around 86% efficient. And this unit comes in at $1,599. So when you do a little bit of math, you're getting this for around 76 cents a watt hour, which is pretty good. Anything below 80 cents in my book is a pretty good deal. So as far as the information display, you can see that you got a huge screen up front, very bright, easy to see, and it's going to give you all your pertinent information. So right now my battery's sitting at 94%. I don't have any input or output watts coming in or going from the unit. I've got 999 remaining runtime minutes because I have nothing running. You can see my little Wi-Fi symbol because I am connected to my phone. My AC inverter is actually on. We can cut that off, and that emblem will disappear. This does have a lot of other emblems that will show up once you start using them, like your DC button. Your little DC icon is going to start to show up. We'll cut that off. But overall, just a good array of information that you can view on this unit, and again, it's very easy to see. Now down here for your outputs, you're going to have 2 100 watt power delivery outputs, 2 20 watt power delivery outputs, and 3 55 21 outputs, and these are rated at 136 watts. Now, if you'll notice, there's no USB-A ports on this thing. Yeah, maybe they're trying to get us to move into this decade, but a lot of us still have USB-A type charging cords. So what they did to remedy that is they sent in the package these USB-C to USB-A adapters. So if you have any older style charging cords, all you have to do is plug in the USB-C end, and then you can plug in your USB-A. So again, they give you two of these things in case you do have the old dinosaur cords. And moving around to the side. So if you'll notice, all 6 of these AC outputs are kind of staggered in different directions. And that's just so we can hopefully utilize as many of these ports as possible, because a lot of times you can't fit all of your charging cords right next to each other. So they did this in case you have a weird shaped charging cord or AC cord, you can hopefully use as many of these outputs as you can. And then down here, you're gonna have your 13.6 regulated car cigarette port, and that is rated at up to 136 watts as well. And moving around to the other side of the unit, you flip up this lid, and this is where all of your charging is going to happen. So you do have a 20 amp reset button here. You've got your 60 volt 10 amp XT60 solar input, as well as your 100 to 120 volt AC charging input. So this is where you're going to plug in your AC charging cord or your 1800 watt solar charging cord that I did not get. But this is where all of your inputs are going to go to charge up the device, as well as an actual grounding plug if you want to ground this unit. And this unit does have a UPS feature, and it is rated at a 13 millisecond switch or transfer time. So the best way that I can show that to you is by using an incandescent light array, because you can actually kind of see the power very quickly flicker. So I'm going to plug this light array in, and obviously it's on. But I do have this power station plugged in to my home AC power. So essentially what's happening is my home AC power is providing power to this power station. It's bypassing the batteries and running these lights. In the event of a power outage, that power gets diverted directly to the batteries to keep these lights running. And the best way to show that to you is by using these lights. So I'm going to simulate a power outage by unplugging this power station from my wall outlet, and you can kind of see the lights maybe flicker. So in 3, 2, 1. Okay, very, very quick. That's the best way I can show it to you, but obviously the UPS function does work just fine on this unit. And you can see here, this unit is very happy running right at around 2000 continuous watts. So I'm using an incandescent light array, a heat gun, and a space heater, and I'm pulling 1940 watts. Okay, so the inverter obviously works fine. It's very happy running at its max continuous rate at 2000 watts. But I wanted to show you the voltage. So I've got a 500 watt space heater that's pulling 440 watts, and I'm getting 108 volts. So there is a little bit of voltage drop. I would like to see this thing run at 120 volts, but it is only rated at 110 volt. Now to check the sine wave on it, now it's got a very clean sine wave. No dirtiness at all on that, so I'll give this a passing score for a pure clean sine wave. Okay, so utilizing the 100 watt output port on the Super PowerPro, I'm able to charge up my Energizer battery, and you can hopefully tell that I'm getting right at 100 watts. 99 watts actually is what the VanPowers power station is providing via that 100 watt power delivery output. And the 20 watt power delivery port is also outputting exactly 20 watts. So both the 20 watt and the 100 watt power delivery port output exactly what they're rated for. Okay, so moving right along. One of the questions I get asked about a lot is how loud are these machines when they're charging? So to test that, I started charging this unit at around 700 to 750 watts, and I was about 3.5 feet away from it, and I ran my decibel meter, and I was getting around 47 decibels. I think you could probably sleep in a room with this because it didn't seem overly obnoxious, and it wasn't super whisper quiet, but it was at a level where I think you could have it in the same room as you while charging and it not really affect you trying to go to sleep or whatever you're trying to do. Now, if you try to charge this thing at 1800 watts, it got up to around 65 decibels. I didn't film that, but of course it's going to be much louder when you're charging this thing at the max rate. And I also tested out the parasitic drain this inverter has on this unit. And by that, I mean, if you have the inverter turned on the AC side with no load, how much power does that inverter actually use? I charged this thing back up to 100%, and around 6 p.m. last night, I turned that AC inverter on and I let it run overnight. When I checked back in this morning at around 7 a.m., it was down to 86%. So That is about 1.015% per hour or something close to that. So the inverter on this unit is actually pretty efficient, burning approximately only 1% per hour. And on a side note, which I don't think I mentioned earlier, this does come with a 2-year, 24-month bumper-to-bumper warranty as well. And yes, it can run a 12-volt compressor fridge all night long, or it can run a 1-watt LED bulb all night long, and that's due to the fact that you can turn off the DC cutoff function on this unit via the app. You can also adjust it in the app to turn off after an hour, 2, 3, 4 hours, whatever you want. Now, speaking of the app, so when you open up the VanPowers app, you can see here my Super PowerPro 2000 is front and center. We're going to click on that, and it immediately pulls up all the main pertinent information. So up top, you got your recharge time, your remaining time, your input and your output watts, as well as your battery capacity. And you can also turn on and off the unit, and you can turn on and off the AC or DC side of the battery via the app. So when you go into the input section, you can see here that I've set the AC charging speed to 800 watts. You can toggle that left or right from 300 watts all the way up to the max 1800 watts. When you go into your output, this is where it's going to show whatever your device you're running off of this power station. It's going to show you what port you're using and how many watts that particular device is using out of that port. And you got 2 modes. You got sleep mode, which you can see here, the max charging speed is set to 300 watts just to keep things quiet, and the little light on the bottom cuts off. And the amp up mode is where you would turn that thing on if you have an appliance that's over 2000 watts up to 3000 watts. So what's going to happen is typically this battery station the BMS would kick in after 2000 watts and shut this unit down to protect itself. If you have amp up mode on, it will run an appliance up to 3000 watts. It's just going to lower the voltage. So it works really well for heating elements like a space heater or hair dryer or heat gun. There's some appliances that are a little bit more finicky on their voltage requirements, so just be careful when you use this particular feature, but this will enable you to run something up to 3000 watts without it cutting it off. And ambient light. So this is where you can go in and change all the different colors of the actual little LED light. Here's the bottom, so you've got all kinds of colors: white, green, purple, pink, blue. Skittles, color of the rainbow. You can choose whichever one you want, and you can also adjust the brightness of those lights. And then your battery is going to give you the state of affairs of your battery, basically. Not really much to say about that. And then location. I'm not going to open that up because I don't really want to broadcast where I live, but let's talk about location here for a little bit. So this is the only power station that I have ever seen or ever have had here in my shop that actually has essentially a low jack built into it. You can enable location services on this power station, and as long as your phone or whatever device you downloaded the app to has 4G service, you can hit that location button and it will show you exactly where this unit is if it's turned on. Blows my mind that it actually can do that, but this thing can be in Colorado, and if it's turned on and I hit that location button, it's going to map where this power station is and show me on a map pretty precisely where this power station is. Absolute crazy feature. I've never seen one on a power station before, but you do have to have 4G service, and the system does have to be turned on for it to actually, talk to each other, but it's kind of like a low jack, which is pretty cool. And then your system is where you can do the power timeout, so you can set it from 30 minutes all the way up to never, which I have it set to never because I want to be the one in charge of this power station. I don't want it to cut off after 6 hours. I want to cut it off if I have to. And then your display timeout, so you can change the screen, how long the screen stays visible. And then you can change from Fahrenheit to Celsius, and then all your other basic information down below. So overall, a really good app, really intuitive, very simple. There's not a whole lot to it, but it's got everything that you need on the app if you can't get to it on the front of this machine. So overall, folks, in a nutshell, I think this is a really nice power station. And I'll be the first to tell you that I typically do not like to review or even use lithium-ion battery stations. They definitely have their drawbacks. They have their upsides too. They're much lighter. They're cheaper to make. It's kind of a give or take. You have to decide what you want to spend your money on. But as far as this particular unit, even though it is lithium-ion, I'm still pretty pleased with it. But to kind of go over the pros and cons, the pros to me, obviously a 2000 watt inverter. It's got the wheels, it's got the carrying handle, it's easy to move around. Everything on it works as it should. The 2000 watt inverter runs 2000 watts easily. It's got a baked in app that works really well. The location services, the low jack on this thing is great. even the mood lighting. I kind of like the mood lighting. And to find a con, I kind of had a hard time finding cons on this thing, except for maybe a few things. One of them being it doesn't have any USB-A ports, and that's not a bad thing. It just means you kind of have to keep track of those little USB-C to USB-A adapters. I think it would have been nice to have at least one USB-A, and I guess the fact that it's lithium ion, but I'm not going to knock this unit because they also offer a 1500 watt version in lithium iron phosphate. I wanted the 2000 watt version, so that's my fault, not a fault of the power station. So it's good that they give you two options if you're interested in one of these units. And I guess the biggest thing that I saw during my testing was the voltage. So I really wish this was at 120 volts. 99.9% of all of our stuff here in North America runs fine off 110 volts. We're just moving to 120 volts. But running 500 watts, I was getting around 109 volts. So I would have liked to see the voltage a little higher on this unit, which I think is my main drawback or main complaint, I guess you could say, on this unit is the lower voltage. Everything else about this unit works perfectly, flawlessly. I haven't had any hiccups. It's just done well. And in fact, I'm going to use this on my camping episode this Thursday, and I'm going to run my camper off of this. So if you guys want to see that video, go check out my other channel because this will be used out in the wild on my camper. So you'll actually get to see a real world use case scenario with this power station running a very tiny camper RV type thing. But that's the quick and dirty review of this VanPowers Super PowerPro 2000. I'm happy with it. I'm glad I have it, and it's definitely going to come in useful for me and what I'm going to use it for. So again, thanks so much for watching my review over this VanPowers power station. If you have any questions at all regarding this power station, just shoot me a comment and I will get back to you. But until next time, folks, I hope you have a great week and we will see you soon. Take care. Bye.